Okay. Good evening. Hello. How are we doing today? Okay. Let's all see properly. Hi. Good evening to everyone. Hi to anyone who'll be watching this later. Thank you for watching. Hi. Hello. Good afternoon. Sorry, good evening, sir. We're in Nigeria together, so good evening. How are you doing? Thank you for joining me. Hi. Okay, since there's two of us here, so let's start so that we can get this done and you can get to other things, right? Good evening. Thank you so much for joining me. So last week I talked about lessons I as a parent learned from the NSAS movement, and today I want to do a part 2, okay? Because last week I was a little bit emotional and quite upset about how things turned out. Also grateful that a lot of things that were previously shrouded in secrecy, things that a lot of us don't pay attention to, are now out in the open, and a lot of people, quite like I was, got upset and now are thinking of what they can do, are getting involved, and that's fantastic. And we're seeing that even though we like to think everything is all rosy and all good, it's not. So some people are seeing action points and they're taking action and moving things along in a positive direction. So that's good. The battle may have been lost, but the war is not over. Things are still in play, and we will get a good outcome at the end of it. Hello, Auntie Inka. Hi. Thank you for joining me. So picking up from last week, something else that jumped at me, I think I mentioned it last week, but I'm going to talk about it again today, is the kind of compassion and concern for others that was displayed during that movement. People were fed, people looked out for each other, lawyers left their practices, I believe, because of course the city, Lagos at that time, was grounded, right? So lawyers left their practices, went to jails, to prisons, to help people, to bail people out. Of course, the fundraising drive was crazy. That's the easiest way to put it. It was crazy. People were genuinely concerned about the well-being of others. And as a parent, I want to raise that kind of individual who would do something for somebody without expecting anything in return. So I saw that displayed and I was like, who raised these people? Right, this generation, we complain a lot about them, the younger generation. They are impulsive, they are this and that, the kind of things we didn't try, they are trying, but they are also displaying extreme compassion that is unusual in our part of the world, right? It's unusual for people to stand up for each other and to literally say, we will be there for other people, especially people who couldn't pay them back. And that was amazing to me. And I asked myself, am I doing enough to raise a compassionate human being in my home as a parent? I can be doing well, but I can do better. And how can I raise a compassionate person? I have to be compassionate to them. You see, you can't, if a situation arises to you, at you as a person, you dig deep and you find what is inside, what has been given to you. That's what you can give out, right? So as a parent, you want to be compassionate to your children. I've heard different schools. Hi Sandy, welcome. I've heard different schools of thought where it is not normal for you to be too nice to a child so that you don't spoil them. And I wonder, if you as a parent are not nice to your child, where do you expect the child to pick up kindness from? Where do you expect them to learn it? Do you expect this world that we live in to teach your child kindness if you are not the one that is kind to them? It's garbage in, garbage out. If you put kindness in that child by being kind to them, then there is a hope, there's an expectation of kindness from them towards others in future. So I think we have to pay attention to this. How we deal with our children, deal with not in the harsh negative way, I mean in our day-to-day dealings with our children. Do we take kindness into consideration? Are we careful to dispense justice or dispense law and order in our homes with kindness at the background? We have to pay attention to this. It is what you have as a person that you will give out. And what do you have? It is only what you are given. So, as we're raising our children in our day-to-day dealings with them, let us be kind. Let us not approach them from a perspective of wickedness. Now, they're going to do things that will hurt our feelings. Yes, they are. They're going to do those things. But you are the parents. I ask parents often, who is in control? If you fly off the handle and you say, my child made me do it, so who is the mommy? Who is the daddy? Is it the child or yourself? You have to rein yourself in. You have to control your emotions. You have to not fly off the handle. You have to choose that. So let us be compassionate to these children. Let us not do, Shibi, I told you not to run. So now that you are falling down, that's not kindness. That's not kind. You can explain consequences to that child. You can let the child know that the action led to this result, but let's not approach our children with meanness. That's the point I'm trying to make. Now let me quickly move along to the next thing I observed. It was collaboration. There were a lot of moving pieces in those protests. There was the medical team, the legal team, the people that were cooking, that were feeding people. There were people that were handling logistics, moving one thing to the other. There was collaboration. And that's why it was so successful, right? That's the most successful protest I've seen in my own lifetime. Most organized, most peaceful, and most successful because there was collaboration. And these are young people, our generation Z. Young people who are smart enough to know that I can't do this all by myself. I have to involve another person who has a skill set. Now I'm on Twitter a lot, and I saw a lot of tweets then saying things like, okay, if you can handle this, if you can do this, please reach out. Right? So somebody understood that I can't jump and do everything. Now I want to raise that kind of person, a child who understands that I can only go so far, but if I collaborate with another person, we can go much further. Now, how do you teach your child collaboration? You have to be intentional. You have to think of, if you have more than one child, it's easier for you. You have to intentionally set them up to have to do things together. Okay? You can't be the divisive parent. You can't be the one who punishes one for another. Now, are there instances that would arise where you have to tell one that something they've done to their sibling is not all right? Yes, but you can't let bitterness fester in the hearts of your children towards each other. You have to let them understand that they have to get along, they have to work together. So when you give them tasks, for instance, if you notice that maybe you have one child who is a bit of a lone wolf, who prefers to be by themselves, you can teach that child. Children are malleable. Children are flexible. Children know what we expose them to. You can teach that child to pair up with their sibling to get something done. If you're folding clothes, for instance, one person can fold, one person can put away. Okay? You have to be intentional. You have to pay particular attention to this. If this is something that you're interested in as a parent, I want to raise a child who understands the power of synergy. So I'm going to pay attention to this, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. If you have a child who is a lone child, who doesn't have a sibling yet, you can still teach them collaboration. Expose them to activities that require them and you or somebody else close by, a safe person to do together, so that they can have the idea that they can get much more done if they collaborate with another person. Also, I saw organization. Again, collaboration, organization. These are soft skills that you ordinarily will not find in young people. A number of them were at home from ASU strike. Some of them already have jobs, but they were able to organize, right? If you have a creative child who is not disposed to organization, by design, you can teach them organization. How can you do this? Schedules. Draw out timelines. From this time to this time, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Now, is regimented? Yes. Can it be over the top? Can it be too strict? If you are too fixated on it, yes. So there has to be a balance. There has to be an opportunity for you to tweak it a little bit and say, okay, we don't want to do this at this time, so what do you want to do? As long as it's productive activity. But to help that child understand organization, you have to give them structure. Children thrive on structure. I can't say this enough. Children thrive on structure, and you have to be organized to be able to organize another person. See, something some of us parents forget to do is understand that when we don't have a particular skill and our children display the same lack of that skill, it's not far-fetched. So we should not judge them by it. We should not judge them because of that lack of that skill. What we should then do is find a solution that helps both of you learn together. I don't know if you understand. Say, for instance, you're prone to outbursts, right? So you're trying to teach your child to control their emotions. You have to accept the fact that even you are working on that, and it will help you to be smarter for you as a parent to accept this and acknowledge it to that child and say, we're working on this thing together. So the child feels the child realizes that they are not alone. They are not walking this journey alone. They are not, obviously. But you communicating it to them helps it to reinforce it to them that, okay, as old as this parent is, they are struggling with this, but they are trying to work on it. I can actually put in the same effort and hopefully at the end of the day get good results, right? So you can let your child know that, okay, let us run this race together. We're going to learn to be organized together, okay? I am a little bit, you don't have to admit it in these exact terms, okay? You don't say to your child that you're a little bit scattered, but that's what I'm trying to say. I'm a little bit scattered. You are learning organization. Let us learn together. So you do schedules. The schedule will help you. It will help you. It will help them. So you put something on the wall of their room and you say, from this time to this time, this is what you should do. From this time to this time, work on it together. If your child is old enough, definitely you want the child to be old enough to be able to, for you to refer to something on the wall of their room and say, okay, can you check what you're supposed to be doing right now? Remember, we're to be kind. So your tone is everything. If you say it in a condescending manner, the child has tuned off even before they get to that place, right? But you want to say, okay, can you quickly check what we're supposed to be doing right now? It's not you that will do it, but you can say it like that. And the child says, okay, I'm supposed to be doing my homework. Oh, fantastic. Can you get right to it? Say it with a smile. It does not have life. It's not hard. Don't let it be hard for your children. Be the soft spot. Be the succor. Be the warm, fuzzy parent that your child needs. See, they are young for only a short while. There's no point being hard and harsh to these children. They are young and they are completely dependent on you for a short while. Very short, very fleeting. I'm sure if you ask my mom now, the last time, okay, we spoke today, but I've heard her say things like, you don't even call. When I was in her house, it was not like that. I didn't need to call. Oh, she needed to just call me and I will be right there. But I'm no longer answerable to her. I choose to defer to her, but I don't have to. So it's a very short time. And I something I also say to parents is, you and that child are going to be adults at the same time. God willing, you're alive long enough. You're going to be adults. You're going to have adult problems at the same time. If you have your child at say 30 or 40, you're going to be adults. Okay, some people are confessing. You're going to be adults at the same time. So you want to build a relationship. Parenting is about a connection. It's not laying down the law all the time. You want your child to want to obey you. You don't want them to fight you at every instruction. No, you don't. So they get to the place where they bring their issues to you. You don't even have to poke your nose and say what's going on in your life. No, because they trust you. You have built that trust when they were young and little, over little mundane things, and then they transfer that trust to more important things. That is why they will take your word about a girl they are dating and say, oh, and you say something like, oh, that's young lady. They trust you. If they don't trust you and you start with that girl, their reaction is, so, but you don't want that, right? You don't want that. You want them to trust you. So build that trust. Use the opportunity that you have now with things like food, things like homework, to build a relationship with your child. I'm going off point. I'm coming back to where I started from. Lessons I learned from the protest, from the players in the protest. Now, they also displayed awareness of what is going on around them. They were aware enough to realize that the law allows this and this and that, and the law does not allow this and this and that, and they felt confident enough to come against the government. I mean, a lot of adults will not dare what those young people did. A lot of us, let me not say adults as if I'm not one of them, a lot of us. One of the days I said I was going out to protest, and my husband looked at me and said, you better sit down. Do you understand? How far can I run if they start shooting? But they were so aware and confident enough to come out and say enough is enough. Stop killing us. Police brutality, we don't want it anymore. This and that. So how do you build an aware child? You share information. You don't code information about what is going on around them from them, right? You let them know so and so is happening. What do you think about it? And then it helps you when you talk with them. It helps you. You guys are laughing at me as if we did not hide together, but it's okay. You probably went out once or twice. I didn't step outside my house, but it is well. We thank God everything went well. Mostly everything mostly went well until some naughty people got involved, but we'll get to them. So what was I saying? Yes, information. You want to check how their perception of things. So you want to say, okay, so and so is going on. What do you think about this situation? You want to talk with them. You want to carry them along, depending on their age. Make sure the information you're sharing with your child is age appropriate. And then when they ask questions, don't shrug it off. Don't ignore them. Don't say, what's your own? Or how did you hear about so and so? That is part of the job you have as a parent. They will ask you troubling, shaking questions, interesting questions, and you have to be ready and willing to answer them. And if you don't know the answer, don't be proud. Just say, I will find out. Or pick up your phone. Thank God for Google it, and both of you learn together. You and the child learn together, right? So don't keep them away. If the NSAS protesters were not aware enough, if they did not get involved in what was happening around them enough, they wouldn't have attempted what they did. And I believe they got results, and results will continue to show. The fact that they have even shaken most of us up, and now we're interested and we are wondering, we're questioning, and we're saying, and we're not glossing over articles. When we see articles of something that's happened somewhere, we take the time to read and we speak up. They've achieved a lot, right? So don't hide information from your children, especially what is going on around them in the world. Talk to them about it. Get to know their perspective. It gives you an opportunity also to shape their perspective. If you don't know how they perceive things, you don't know what needs attention, you don't know what requires a conversation. So talk to your child. Now, as parents, in this dispensation, the NSAS, aftermath, this and that, what can we do? We have to tell somebody. If you've learned something new as a parent, share it with somebody. Tell somebody, and then speak up for children. Sometimes, I say, the worst that will happen is that the person will not greet you again. But you would have said it. And you might be, the situation might be such that the person was probably at a tipping point. And then what you say is able to stop the person from discontinuing some negative action towards their child. So we live in a culture of silence and a culture of, let me mind my own business, I don't want them to insult me. Insult has not hurt anybody before, okay? But if you speak up for a child, Even if you're a believer, even God would say that this person has spoken up for this child. And we're expected to speak up for the vulnerable. It's a job, right? It's an assignment that we have to speak up for vulnerable, for people that are being treated poorly in society. So if you speak up for a child falls in the vulnerable category because they are defenseless. They can't do anything, even against their parents. Whatever it is their parents do to them, they have to take. And then remember, it comes back to bite the rest of us in the behind, which is what was displayed by the people that went around burning and destroying stuff. They're somebody's children. They were raised by somebody. Maybe if somebody spoke up when they were younger and told their mother, no, don't treat this child this way. There was a video circulating some time ago about a lady whose daughter had been abused by someone she was dating or something, and the mother felt justified to beat the child, a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, I don't remember right now, for being abused. But somebody there was like, no, how can you think this child should be held responsible for what happened to her? And somebody took a video and posted it on social media, and those children, I reportedly heard that they were taken away from this woman. So those children have a chance, don't you think? They have a chance now, an actual chance. Now they have to be taken away from their actual mother. So this is not a situation where somebody was raised by a stepmother or somebody somewhere. Their actual mother was condoning abuse. So if that person who put that video on social media, or somebody who spoke up and raised alarm enough for the person who started recording to record, then that child would have been lost. So let us speak up. We can't keep quiet. See, keeping quiet is costing us as a society, because these children that have been left behind, these children that have been forgotten, they will grow up. And I like to tell people, see, those children of bank executives, children of top management level executives, children of petroleum, whatever, in fact, my children are not likely to run for office in Nigeria in its current form. You see the people that are going to run for office, people that are going to run for local government chairman, people that are going to run for governor, people that are going to run for positions, councillor, whatever, are some of these children that we all look away from, so to speak. Now, there's a president that we had in the past whose mantra was, I had no shoes. Maybe if they gave the man shoes, maybe things would have turned out differently for us as a country. Maybe if he felt some warmth, they will not empower people with 20k and call it empowerment, 20,000 naira. Maybe they would value people. Maybe they will see the value in people enough to do right by the citizens they govern. So let us speak up for children, because they will grow up and they will become, it's not just, that's not the only reason, but it is an important reason for us to look out for children around us, right? Something else I wrote down is get involved in governance. Now, not all of us will be in governance, but in your position, in your capacity, with the influence that you have, get involved. Speak up. When something is going wrong, let's not be quiet. Let's not look away and say, that's that. It's not that. It's coming back. It's coming back to bite all of us. So we have to pay attention to children around us, because as the days go by, the things that are being put into them, the influences that are superior, right, would take over their lives, and they would display these things, and we should not be surprised. I was surprised that people were surprised that people were burning stuff. How a person who was raised in that went to private school, who was raised in a nice comfortable environment, will get angry is different from someone who lived on the streets since they were 2 or 3, right? It's different. Their expression of annoyance or displeasure is different. You will probably say, I will call my lawyer. They will break something. They will break something because that is what they know. It's like beating a child and saying don't cry. What else does a child know to do when they are in pain? Even as an adult, there are some things that will happen to you. Maybe if you drop 5k and you don't know where it fell, tears can gather. Tears can gather, because especially if you had plans for that money. Now I'm talking about a child, a little child whose sphere of influence is to eat, play, cry when upset, and you now beat that child. You say they should not cry. It's surprising. So to expect that something of that magnitude would happen in a state where we have number of uncared for children and young people that we have is just baffling that anybody is surprised about it. It is baffling. So we have to step forward. We can't continue to look away. We can't continue to pretend like everything is rosy. We can't continue to tar our estates and pretend like roads are not horrible elsewhere. So let us get involved. Let us speak up for the rights of children. There is a whole bill of rights for children in our constitution that is ignored by everybody from the government to the least person. We have to get involved and make sure that children are not left behind. Children are looked out for, because when they grow up, they will be the responsibility of society. There's a Yoruba adage that says, okay, I don't remember I can't even say it in Yoruba. But the import of the adage is that the child that you don't care for would grow up and sell the house that you were building or paying attention to, rather than caring for them. So as you in the same vein, how you're taking care of your own child, look out for children around you. When something is going wrong with a child, say something, do something. Call the parent to a corner and say, no, don't do this. This is why I don't think you should do this. Don't take my word for it, but do some research. Don't let's not look away anymore. It's costing us, and it will continue to cost us until we fix the foundation. The family is the production unit of society. If that foundation is destroyed, then we can't be surprised at things that are going wrong at the highest levels. All right, so that is my encouragement to you today. Now there's something else I want to talk about. I have a question here. Let me quickly see. Well, Sandra says, would the child not feel like if mommy hasn't learned to be organized at this age, how can they learn? Well, hopefully your child will not feel that way. I hope along with you that your child will not feel that way. But being vulnerable with your child just shows that you're human. Children already, thank you for the question, Sandra. The children already see us as superhuman. And that is problematic. Because they ask us, we take them to malls and they ask us to buy toy car of this size for 500k. Because they feel, just go to the bank. You say you don't have money, just go to the bank and collect money. Okay, that's on the light side. But seriously, children already perceive us as superhuman, can do anything, can achieve anything. And when we are vulnerable, we let them know that we've been there, we've walked the walk that they're on, and so it is possible. Now, as the same way you're telling your child you are still working on getting organized, it's the same way you're showing your child other skills that you have. Obviously, like I said, they already see you as superhuman. So I don't think there's anything that you can do that can make your child say, wow, so this person is not even all that. No, it's not likely. It's very, very unlikely. I don't know what a person can do that can make their young child say, oh wow, so this person is not even, I don't think so. Your child, you have to be able to be vulnerable with your child. It's our ego that gets in the way. Everybody, my parents said it, I don't know if your parents did, but they all came first in class. All of them came first in class, right? Let's not go when Dangote is somebody's father and you two are somebody's father's route, okay, this evening. But we have to do better. We have to do better. Show your child that you struggle with things too. Show them how you have struggled and how you've surmounted certain challenges and how you're still working on something. They're going to grow up and they're going to meet challenges too. So you want them to be able to reflect and say, okay, mommy has done this before, daddy has done this before, then it's possible for me to do it. And also, they would realize that it's not everything that they're able to achieve. The same way you have not been able to achieve everything. So they're able to understand early in life that they should find their niche. They should find where they have capacity and work hard on that. Now, this is not to say that they should not attempt things. You want your child to be able to attempt a variety of things. But as a parent, you want your child to realize that you have to put in the effort in some places, put in extra effort in some places, and you can't show them that except you're vulnerable. So you tell your child brings math homework to you, and you don't have the chops for mathematics. If you're able to say, okay, let's look at the example and study it together, then this child knows that in future, when I come across a problem I can't solve, I can look at the example. But if you say, my friend, will you carry your book, and did your teacher teach you? No, you haven't helped that child. Now, the child may think that you know it, but between you and me, you know that you don't know it. But you have also not helped that child. So being vulnerable with your child is very, very important. It helps them disabuse their mind of you being at the top, at the peak, at the top of all knowing, all seeing, all capable. And if you're a believer like I am, you want to direct your child to look to God, who is the author and finisher of our faith. You want them to be able to direct their problems to God, because they will need God. Now, I'm talking to believers, okay? This is not for everybody. They will need God. The same way you need God, you have to let them know that they will need God. So if you don't point them in that direction now, when they grow older, they won't know where to turn. All right? So let's be vulnerable with our children. They won't unrate us, okay? I promise you. They won't unrate you. They already rate you, okay? So there's not much that you can do to lower your ranking. All right, and then all you have to do is just do a little bit of pancakes and stuff, and your rating has gone back to 100. Or you buy them a toy. It always works. Buy them a toy, buy them something they like, and your rating has jumped up. So there's something I'm working on for parents, right? I'm trying to okay, I'm not trying, I've done it actually, and I think it will be useful for parents. Okay, it's a means to answering some questions that you may have about your child. Why they yes, you're welcome. Yes, rep has to be intact. Why they act a certain way. It can be confusing for parents why one child acts this way and another acts a different way. It can be confusing, and I can understand the confusion in some cases. Why does a child behave in a certain manner? Why is a child difficult to get through to? Why does a child repeat behavior over and over and over, right? So I designed something that can help parents in this regard. If you require it, please let me know. But this is what you're going to get. All right. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. It's an assessment, a personality assessment. I'm going to ask a couple of questions. You're going to give me the answers, and then I'm going to do you a report of my findings based on those questions, your answers to those questions. Now, it's a science-based approach. It's not guesswork. It's science, and it's been proven. It's tested. It's trusted. It's everything. It's based on family systems engineering templates. And so, what you're going to get is you're going to get a statement describing your child's personality types. Again, going by the answers to those questions. Your child's personality types. Now I'm going to give you expected environments that this child requires to be able to thrive. So getting to know this about your child will help you to provide what they need for them to thrive and blossom. And I think this is useful for us who are intentionally raising our children. So you're going to get expected environment information. You're going to get expected behavior, what they will do that should not surprise you, that you should go like, oh, okay, it's because of your personality. I understand. Okay. And then you're going to get communication tips, how to reach them, what to say, what not to. Well, I don't like to dwell on what not to say because you don't want to say it. So what's the point in fixating yourself on what you don't want to do, right? So I'm going to talk about what to say, how to reach them, how to communicate with them, how to read them, right, as a parent. And then I'm going to put in some discipline tips for you so that you can understand what to do to keep them in a particular on a path, right? Discipline is organization. It's teaching your children organization. It's instructing them. It's teaching them. Discipline and punishment have nothing to do with each other by the original design, right? So discipline tips, how to get them to follow a path, for them to be for them to do what you consider acceptable, right? I'm going to put in some discipline tips for you. So that's what I have packaged. I'm going to drop a Google form on my what's that thing called, the link, right? I'm going to drop the Google form link on my handle, right, at the end of this class. Yes, I'm going to put the link there. So if you require it at a fee, it's not so much. It's worth a lot more because it's personalized. It's not a generic, it's not something you will find on the internet. Trust me, it's not a generic thing. It's not automatic. This, I'm going to personalize each person's report so that it can be useful for you. Now, bio, yes, bio, thank you. Profile, thank you. Yes, I'm going to put it on my bio, right, so that I can get your requests, and then we can have a discussion, send you the forms you fill. It's at a fee, heavily discounted, but I think it will be useful for parents, right? Having an understanding of who your child is going to help you. It's going to help you to know what to do with them, so that you don't make mistakes that are avoidable. There are some mistakes that you will make that you would that may be unavoidable, but when you know better, I believe that you do better. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you for joining me, and again, my heart goes out to everyone who lost someone in the protests, every family who is hurting right now. I'm so sorry that happened, and I wish it didn't, but I also believe and pray that the sacrifice will not be in vain. They will not have died for nothing. By God's grace, they will not have died for nothing. And for people whose stores and offices were destroyed, I'm so sorry. I hope that you're reaching out to the government, because the government has, Lagos State government especially, has put out guidelines, LSCTF, and all those things for them to be able to help out. I hope that your business picks up and that you are able to bounce back. It's not a pleasant thing to experience when you've worked so hard and someone comes and burns it all down because of the suspicion of an affiliation. And in the same vein, the hoodlums that are hoarding palliatives, God is watching you. God is watching you. And like I said, we're to stand up for vulnerable in society. So if you're actively preventing access for people to have food to eat, for people who are vulnerable to have food to eat, then it's difficult to pray for you straight prayer without bending it. So I'm just going to say, well, I hope you find repentance. I hope you do better in future, and if consequences are going to come, I hope you're able to survive it without losing too much. Thank you again for watching me. Thank you, sis. God bless you too. Amen, amen, and amen. Thank you. So I'll be putting the link on the bio. If you need it, please let me know. If you know someone who needs it, please let them know, so that we can get this word around. We can help parents do better with their children. Know more so that they can do better. Thank you so much again. Have a lovely, lovely evening. Bye. Yes, I'm packing it up as if I read news. Abino, thank you so much. Thank you. Ciao, ciao. Bye. Thank you, babe. Thank you so much. All right, ending it now. The replay will be available. Yes. Thank you, sis. Bye. I'm enjoying all this feedback, so let me bask in it for a bit until time runs out. Okay, let me end it. Bye bye now.